All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is me going over VRising. My friend started playing and asked me to set up a server, so I have. And in doing that, decided I would get the game and kind of see what it's like. So, as you can see, there is this is a vampire game. You are a vampire, and with that, you can quote unquote feed. I don't know why I quoted around that. You can feed on animals and enemies and that sort of stuff. This is your blood pool. This indicates how much blood you've got available to you, and this really helps when you do some of the abilities. Like the one that I use a lot is Blood Mend, where you convert some of the blood into health. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can use that. You can also use wolf form. Once you've beaten the alpha wolf, which is one of the first bosses that you run into. And then expose vein. Not exactly sure what the purpose of that is, but basically it does exactly what it says. You just sit there for so long showing your vein. The mechanics are not bad. It's WASD to move. So pretty typical. You do have an action bar down here. One of my complaints is that your action bar down here is represented by a bar up here. And I don't know that I like that so much. I would much rather just, if you remove this line and just show me what's in my inventory, rather than having two places where stuff is. Because you can just drop it straight onto the bar down there. So there's really no reason for this to be here. And that's nitpicky, but that's one of my complaints. As you start out, this is some of the things that you start out being able to make. You start out being able to make the bone sword. As you pick up bones of fallen enemies or fallen mobs, you can go through and make bone sword, bone axe, bone mace, bone spear. As you can see, I don't have a spear on um, any of my weapons. Currently, my weapons are all copper based, so there's that, and there's that. Um, Another one of my complaints, while we're in the neighborhood of complaining, is how uh, the world works in relation to you. And what I mean by that is, as you can see in the upper right hand corner, because you're a vampire, you can't be in direct sunlight. So there is multitude of hours, in-game hours, not real hours, where you can't be out and about and roaming. Because if you do, just walk out, you start taking a bunch of damage. The longer you stay out there, like I stood out there for half a second or so, or maybe a couple seconds, and boom. And you saw just how quickly uh, that started to do damage and how much damage that started to do on me. Um, and so I understand that they're trying to keep with the vampire concept of not being able to go out in daylight, but this is pretty much the only game that I know of that I've played that's like this or similar to this that has that mechanic. Like if you talk about Ark, if you talk about Conan Exiles, um, you talk about Valheim, any of those games don't really have a time where you absolutely can't be. The game won't let you be out in daylight. So that's very frustrating because there's a lot of times where that plays very heavily into your gameplay. You're like, oh, well, I want to go, let's open up the map. Like, oh, hey, I want to go and see what's over here. Well, if you get over there, you may not have enough time to get back here to get to where the safety is. So you may be stuck in a forest, or you may be stuck doing like I did because I have a base over here, or no, I have a base over here somewhere. Um, oh, I have a base right here, yeah. And I was like, well, there's some stuff over here, but I really want to see what some of this other stuff is because one of the things I'm looking for is that whetstone, and like not a lot of places near where my place is, where my other castle is, have whetstone, whereas this one does. So, yeah, you may end up putting several castles down so that you can kind of move around during daylight. That's definitely a big frustration part for me. The combat mechanics are actually not bad. The one nice thing is if you put a castle heart down, um, then you can put also. You have to go across. You can also put a coffin down, and it doesn't matter if the coffin is exposed to light. If you're in the coffin during daytime hours, then you're safe. All right. Another mechanic that I don't particularly like is if you're, like, let's say you're here and you want to get down, you have to kind of use shift to jump down. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, most people use the space key when they want to like jump, and for this game, by default, space key is bound to that little like kind of flash jump thing that it does. And of course, you can change the bindings if you want, but it is kind of a weird design choice. Yes. As most games are, as you grow and get better gear, the more things you're able to do. So as you start out with your bone mace, you're probably only going to be able to get just regular stone. You're not going to be able to get anything better than that. But then once you've graduated from bone mace to the next one, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, stone mace maybe. Then you can get the copper, and then once you've got a copper mace, then you can use sulfur. This is going to be ugly. This is very much going to be ugly. Oh, yeah, this is bad. So I've got 4 health. So I've got to kind of be very careful. Because even one hit from them would most likely kill me. And so there was like 5 or 6 of them. And if you had like 400 health, it's very doable. But when you've got 200 health, it becomes very problematic very quickly, especially when one of them is pretty much the same level as you, gear level 27. And I think that archer was 27 as well. I don't know if she was an archer, but whatever that woman was. Rogue. Yeah. All right, let's feed off of her. And the one thing I will tell you is you can be damaged while you're feeding. So if you're feeding, be very careful. That one's down. So these guys should be not too bad to kill. Oh, damn it. I died. Oh, there was two more back there. I did not see them. So this is how dying and getting back works. Once you die, you can choose waygates based on where you are. So if I was still in my base over here, wherever that was at, I think it was down here somewhere, I could use this waygate and get down to it. But since I died there, I'm going to use this wooden coffin and traverse back over. When you die, you drop all of your stuff except for your weapons, which is nice. Oh. Castle is decaying. So I forgot about that. That's the other thing, is that your castle can decay. And the way you stop that is you get those blood essence things, and you feed it to the castle, and it gives you so much time. All right. The other nice thing is that if you're trying to use an ability and it's still on cooldown, it'll tell you how long it is. So if you just hold down the space bar, it will say, hey, your cooldown, you've still got X amount of time for your cooldown. This is what it looks like to go back for your loot. This is that blood essence that you feed to your castle heart. That's what it looks like to... Oh, there's a whetstone. There is some stuff over here. All right, we're going to feed on her because my blood is really low. There we go. Go back. There's some whetstone. I've also, it says carrying silver and it's in red. It's got this weird stuff. So I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that. Hell. This is going to suck. I'm still not fully recharged from the original fight. So we're going to try and see if we can convert some blood into HP. There's your HP bar. There's your blood. The feed Q is F. And these are all your attacks and what they're bound to. All right. Let's go back. I still think I need some more whetstones. I've got 2 here. I think I've got 1 at the place, and I think I need 4. So. Oh, hell. She moved. All right, we're going to fill up our blood pool again. Here's another whetstone. While we're here, might as well make a nuisance out of ourselves and destroy some things. So we've got 2 engaging us right now. So we've got to be very careful. She is trying to run away, and we're not going to let her. We are going to steal her life. Oh, and... Alright, and now we're going to heal a little bit. So we've got 3 whetstones. And a merciless copper axe. That seems cool. That's new. Fishbone. That's kind of cool. That's new for me. Alright, let's destroy these guys. Kind of rummage through their things, make sure they're not... Cloth. Is there anything inside? A trapper. Level 20 shouldn't be too bad for me. Let's steal his blood, because I need some. Oh, hell. Wait. Oh, he does this stun thing, which is the worst. Let's feed on him. And let's heal. Something's sleeping over there. I think it's a bear. Alright, let's go back in here. Take a peek around. What do we got? Some stone dust. Some more stone dust. Not a lot of stuff, but there you go. Not really scared of the bear. I could kill him pretty easily. Why not? And you can feed on animals as well. There you go. Alright, so now comes the hard part. Going back to base. But we're not just going back to the temporary base. We're going back to the regular base. I will circle back to that base at some point. The other crappy kind of thing is, so there's a castle heart over there. Is that it doesn't appear like it allows you to set static waypoints. So, like, as you can see, I have this kind of X'd out right here. And I think if you leave and come back, if you disconnect from the game and come back, I think you lose that waypoint. So it'd be super nice to have static waypoints that you can add to your map, long-term pins. Alright, so I'm going to... Oh, there's another bear. Why not? Kind of rude killing a sleeping bear, but whatever. What for it? Boom! Alright, so that guy is pretty close to being done. I can feed on both of them, but I'm really not going to. Don't need to. I'm just coming over here to put some stuff, some blood essence into my castle heart. As you will see, so much blood essence will only give you so long. So there's 500, and that gives me 2 days. You can upgrade, and I did upgrade my other one. So let's go take the long journey back, huh? The one nice thing is that the red here shows the nighttime. So the red is obviously dwarfing, or at least more than the white, which is the time you can't travel. So it does give you more nighttime hours in the game. this way. When you mark something on the map, the little gear icon shows up, and that's how you know you can kind of follow that to get back to wherever that place was. The one thing I did learn today, actually, is, and I kind of demonstrated this earlier, if you hover your mouse over a place, it'll tell you what that place is. Like this one's a bandit logging cabin, or bandit logging camp, excuse me. And it'll tell you what important loot you can find there. So, of course, thread, paper, plank, the wolf den, you can get animal hide, infest graveyard, you can get grave dust, morning lily and bone, bandit camp, coarse thread and paper. So it'll tell you where you can get those things. And that one is the one we were just at, where we got the whetstone, which is vitally important. All right, so I have to go up a little bit. I have to use the top one. The other thing I can do, because I killed the alpha wolf, I probably already said this, is go dog form, or wolf form, which is kind of neat. If you're walking around, you will see some glowing stuff, but more times than not, there's actually nothing there of important. But you'll see this stuff, which is important. As you saw, there's 10th Fire Blossom. There's a couple of things that have that behavior. All right, which way am I going? Going up. This way. There we go. Blood Rose is another one you just saw there. So seeing that sort of stuff is not too terribly difficult, which is nice. It makes your life a little easier. Yeah, we really don't care about these guys, so we're just gonna like push through them. Sorry guys, gotta go. And same with the minerals, so like copper and sulfur and that sort of stuff. It doesn't glow, but it is relatively easy to see. So Fire Blossom. Alright, we're going to stop for just a second and see. No, I think stay the path and keep going down this way. Even though that moose or deer, whatever it is a pretty high level, they will still run away from you. There's that little bandit camp. All right, and which way do we go? Go right. Or left, rather. We're going to stay the course, because there is our main base. All right, and this is my main base, so I already have things like a furnace. Furnace does, like most games, it turns ore into ingots. I have the vermin nest. You throw bones in here and plant matter, plant fiber, and it calls in vermin. So you're like, well, what good is a vermin? Well, the blood thing is one of the big things. So let's say you're out and about and there's really no mobs nearby. You're low on health and you're low on blood. Well, if you eat a mouse, as I'm doing here, gives you a little bit of blood to help. The other thing I've got over here, sawmill, does the same thing as most game sawmills. Turns wood or lumber into planks. And then the simple workbench is where, like, a lot of the... So there's the refined bones sword. copper sword, and I do not have any other things available to me. The other thing you notice is this is the Castle Heart powered. If it's in a confined room, and if you hover over it, it'll tell you what that means. Increases crafting and refinement rate when placed within an enclosed castle room. So as you can see, mine is not an enclosed castle room. Now, I haven't looked that up to see what they mean by enclosed, whether they want a roof or whether they just want it to be walled off from other things. Not entirely sure what they're looking for there. All right, so there's my 4 whetstone. There's the 5th one. And now I need to make a grinder. So I have my whetstone, which I have 1 extra. I need copper ingot, 4 copper ingots, and 8 plank. So let's go grab some of that stuff, shall we? There's my 4 copper ingots. While I'm doing that, let's unload some of the things that I've got on me. Just gonna drop that on there. Drop some of that right there. I think that's it for the wood, but I do need my planks. So if you middle mouse button, that will cut that in half. So if you only need like 8 of something, you can kind of cut that in half. There we go. Also going to throw some stuff on the tannery, because I've got some of that, and that of course turns it into leather. I haven't had a whole lot of things need leather at this point, but I'm sure that it will. While I'm at the furnace, let's unload some of this stuff. There's that. Do we have any more? Not seeing it. No. So let's build ourselves yeah, this place is getting a little crowded, so I'll probably have to expand it a little bit. But now we have a grinder, and if we throw stone in there, it's going to kick out stone brick. And we need metric tons of stone brick. And you may be asking yourself, why, Scott? Why do you need stone brick? I am going to tell you why. So, as you can see, we use blood essence and stone brick for the castle floor. And we also have a research desk. You remember? Look at that. Now, we should know how to make merciless copper axes. Now, whether that might be at the simple workbench here. Let's go take a peek. There it is. And so it takes whetstone as well, which is a bummer. Takes a lot of whetstone, but it's a let's replace that with that and go back in and take a peek. All right, so I currently have copper axes, and it's a gear level of 9. The merciless copper axe is a gear level of 12, which is good. It definitely bumps me up to that next level, and it's not terribly difficult. The whetstones are going to be problematic a little bit. But otherwise, it's not terrible to get those. I think I put some stone in one of these. Yep, there's some stone right there. I don't know what a mist stone is, but I think that's the first one of those I've gotten. I do have some parchment, so I will toss that up there. Some paper. Fire blossom. There's that. Also, don't use these generic containers. So how I got that was if I hit build and then go to fundamentals, small stash. That's the container I used. It's quick and it's easy. It's one of the first things you learn to do, but it's also apparently unprotected. And the reason that I know that is that if I go to I now have mirrors, walls and wall windows and wallpaper. And it's kind of neat. There it is. Oh wait, no, that's the original one, isn't it? Huh. Where did they hide that at? Is it in my regular build? No. I wonder if it's in the workbench. I don't know where it is. Apparently off the top of my head. But there is a vampiric lock or keep or something like that, which allows you to have items, but it's secured. Speaking of, while I'm thinking of it, carrying 2 silver coins. I have 4 now. 30 paper. I think I've got some in here as well. Yeah. There you go. There's my coarse thread. I have a bunch of that now. There's my cloth. I have a fair amount of that as well. I don't think there's anything. I'm going to put that blue gem in. Crude sapphire. I don't know what the fishbone is for, but I'll throw that in there too. And I keep these flowers, these blood roses, in this particular bench. Throw this in the grinder as well. So 12 of those gives you 1 of those. So it's not a particularly fantastic output for those. Also going to go over here. And just kind of toss that in there. So this was the old gear that I was using before I upgraded to my current stuff. No real reason for me to keep that, but alright, I'm binding myself to this particular coffin because I want to be back here. So these are the things that I can get, and so the Rufus of Foreman is the next one, I believe. Although it doesn't show you which ones you've killed. Because I've killed this, and I don't see any way to indicate that I've actually killed it. It still has the track blood, so we'll still let you go back to him. I killed the foreman. I have a woodworking bench, I believe. Maybe I don't have a woodworking bench. Nope, I have a simple workbench. That's a simple workbench. Sawmill, furnace, blood press. Vermin, tannery, devourer. Nice, that's kind of cool. And the grinder. There's the research desk. I've already got one of those. Blood altar. I've already got one of those. Oh, there's the vampire lockbox. That's the one you want. Holds up 14 items. Enemy players cannot loot your items from this. So this is a PvP map. I don't know if it says that. Yeah, here. Castle raiding enabled. Player PvP enabled. How much daylight do we have? Not a lot. But we're going to get some stone, because we need a metric ton of brick. And so your attack button is pretty much the same button you use to hit the stones and get stone from them. And the same thing with like plant fiber, same thing with trees. You just basically left click. If you leave it at default for your attack. For topaz, that's kind of neat. And this stuff will regen. So if I destroy this stuff, something will regenerate back in its place. There's that thing right there. Morning lily. All right. Thankfully, this place is pretty good for stone. There's definitely a lot around it. Oh, the other thing that kind of bugs me, it may not bug you guys, but bugs me, water. I can't walk over water. Don't know why they've decided to make that a thing, but it is frustrating. They're like, let me just go forward through the water. Like, let me do the thing. Okay, there's some of that stuff, some of that stuff. Trying to get a bunch of stone built up. 400, 500. Not quite there yet. Definitely want a lot more than that. So there is a bit of a grind piece to this. It requires explosive. Grind for mats, grind farm mobs. So if you absolutely hate grinding, you may want to skip this game, because it's pretty much like a lot of the other ones I mentioned, like Conan, like Valheim, like Ark. Any of those games, all of them have a grind piece to them. Strong brick. That's kind of neat. All right, so almost 9. What do we got? 500, 500, 250, 500, 229 rather. Got some. Not quite happy with what we've got just yet, though. Really want to have a metric ton. As opposed to an imperial ton. Bear with me. It is 9, almost 10. Which means any minute now, the sun is going to start showing its face, and you're going to have to go back into hiding. Which is not fun. Very boring part of the game. This is very early. I'm like level 27, and I think you can get to 60, I think is the max level. Don't quote me on that. I don't have any of the DLCs for this game either. As I said, I had a couple of friends who wanted to play on a dedicated server. I had a spare Linux box, so I stood it up. And then I bought the game, just the core game, because I wanted to see what it was like. And it's a nice break from Modern Warfare. Alright. Should be plenty enough. So the sun is rising. Gonna come over the grinder. Toss a bunch of this stuff in there. Tell it to go nuts. Oh, and there is this thing over here, too. That one got hairy pretty quick, what didn't it? So that kind of shows you just how quickly it can go sideways on you. So that's the Mist Razor. You throw bones in there, and it will allow you to not be affected by the sun for a duration of period. All right. And so, as you can see, I've got about 250 or 125 rather bones. And if you're like me, you throw that in there, you turn it on, you're like, that's all I get. I get like, when it started, it was like a minute. I'm like, I get a minute for all that bone? No, it's actually consuming one bone at a time. So that minute is for each bone you've got in there. So I'll keep this up for just a second so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, 60 seconds, see? So 60 seconds times 124. That's a pretty fair amount. And bone is ridiculously easy to get, so you can cram as much of that in there as you want and not worry about it at all. As you can see, I've got one over there as well, but I don't really need it right now, so I'm going to leave it where it's at. Alright, I'm going to throw that on there. I think that's it for that. And I'm going to come over here to the gems. Got crude emeralds. Toss those guys there. Got crude topaz. Toss that guy up there. I think that's about it for that one. Whoops. Alright. Got these guys. Throw that up there. I'm not seeing anything else. We have some plant fiber. See if we can get over here and unload this stuff. Don't need a lot of plant fiber, so toss that up there. Try to make it to the tannery without dying. And that's that. That in the sawmill. Definitely got a lot of wood. I'm not exactly sure what sawdust is about, but alright, so that's kind of an introduction and my thoughts on VRising. Guys, let me know down in the comments. Do you like VRising? Do you want to Want to see me play more VRising? See me progress through the levels and stuff? Or would you rather we just stick to shooters like Call of Duty, Warzone, Modern Warfare, Black Ops, that sort of stuff? But I am going to put my guy in the coffin and disconnect. And that's it for now. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in.